I refer to the reason there, probably looking at whether the reason that was the incident. I fully convicted that probably it's suitable 75% to 80% of the current Earth population, the ones that register as citizen cards and not citizen holders, and not citizen card holders, or whether everything their initial citizen comment I mentioned in the or add, and whether citizen card holders to probably to look one compare whether the vessel to probably it can be definitely sorted out. There are some of the most rude, selfish, untrustworthy, very coarse, but they're to be doing those, and these really define what terrorism is. Terrorism often wears certain other covers. It's very free in how a lot of the social upkeeps are some other taking. These are really not scavengers. If some persons reach towards scavengers a lot, and by the way, they're monstrous. This Vermania is a Nazism hub. We're going to get rid of this number-based cancer. Notice a lot of the hobbies offered to us is to attrition, the grind against us, is to dislodge and prevent the upper class from rising. That's what these are trying to do to the maximum of their extent. The liarists don't have reasons, and they do not really work together in a team. These are like soloists. These are dusts piled towards. In 20 calendar years after, I definitely will be driving scan vehicles and terminating those onto international television. It's a matter of still on the course, and give it a couple of decades and it will definitely be this way. Along the way, there's going to be moments that are different from As of the Stone, and as much as almost everything is like to cover for me. And I will be attending, so some of the cover will be sort of more of happiness, but I'll have a fair list of all the 7 favors, or whether a lot of the favors and just tend to be those touch. You may not just of those favors, but since I have this inclination and distribution more towards us. Life is like poker. We wait for the other person to speak, different varieties, types, and have this, and they speak something, and it'll be taken as if we wanted to know your cards. What are your cards today? What has some energy, and what the force has given you these notes. And speaking of energy, we may as well cover here one of the notes from counterboard from since probably a week ago, namely to probably to be weather more than multiple days ago before the no recent multiple minor report there minor report about and amongst other variants mentions probably to be. And there are similar effects on that and other different variants of describe the reason for the survival job and whether to for reason for the survival job to if my capabilities pick up, I probably haven't covered on a lot of the medium or whether other medium or other mediums. The issue and whether rather rewarding bracket mark to whether the probable to if I become more capable, I'll be like energy. And right to left, and whether right to left system, right scripting, whether typing system suitable, it's more effective on text format. What is the language itself? How did language come past and wasn't rejected? It's like, in a way, it is by God. A lot of stuff are by God. Besides, as much as all the happiness, like, check the, what's the word, there's this patheticness version of all stuff and seems to be on that platform. It just doesn't going to be this way, but not stated now, not or whether representative comes before reason of whether they're playing of expression remark there, they're indicating so. And similar effect of recent change or whether recent indicator mentioned probably to the recent phrase as probably of something of on and whether of nothing of recent minor expression of one minor expression of to probable to could be of, and probable to could be to probable to also to could be of, and whether to probable to could be of, to probable to also to could be of, whether to probable to could be of, to probable to could be of, and whether of, to probable to could be of. Language itself seems to be, because divine intervention that we develop the languages, we have these, and to get the most accurate points, I'll mention this, it's suitableness. Communication involves to be a social partners. They will tend to be always be, and they're in a way because of their shyness involved. We're not speaking to objects, and we're speaking human to human, supposed as human to some other creature. And that's why actually the proper how law and politics is supposed to be. In a way, by having friends with lions, for example, the lions will cover for us because we have certain, not necessarily weakness, it's a results of certain specializations and traits in their identity for being humanoids. So if supposedly some Jews that targets regular folks and the spells are prepared for humanoids, it doesn't work on the big cats. But the big cats are more annoyed of casino perfumes or casino stick or casino issue, whether I before then the minor retrieval of a whether to moderate provided to be of a retrieval whether of the recent mentioned the word aesthetic was the probable to be not just fond of whether not fond moderately probable to be of restating accountable to be restated and whether rephrase and whether requote or restating whether quote and whether requote to probable to comparative the more facet of a more suitable. The lyrics already reflects a reason there the note pack or whether the note countable of the pack may need to represent there's a couple, and the reason mentioned was probably two minor retardation reason to believe there. And whether to web of to there's of to probable to also to and whether to could be to probable to could be to probable to also to be whether to or ente or to probable of to could be of or reason there to could be the probable of could be of to probable to could be of have certain the reason that was represent sort of expression or mentions and categorize minor repeater probably or after conflict for of a reason of a of emphasize of we're going to respect these moments which comes before principles comes before then these mundane social issues come from the formality conflicts. Those aren't formality, those are tribute to the underlying boss probably. The lyrists have certain are more free, they're more movable. It's like they're really, they might not be so great at catch, so that the conventional name being catchable, but able to move around with those policies. We have to stick with the policy states, right? As much as on the imagination or on the projection, probably not going to be, but on the realism is going to be this way. And by the way, right, our guys are getting outplayed in a way because for one, in this instance, and whether this is for example of, or whether our guys or a lot of Rosenchild's earlier generation, other probably to recent therapeutic generalization collective or whether generalization to probable to could be from whether to probable to could be of to probable to could be of and whether to could be of to probable of to could be of or whether reason to could be of to probable also to could be. That's what it does the dominance order incorporates back, so there's still a probable of a reflexive. Is that covered? Or whether mentioned probable consideravle suitavle.
你老在这儿子睡觉，要弄之前肯定有的，还有年纪轻轻就有野蛋 ，OK， 不忘了，你不要去烧小火把。 他对自己一点都不好，是不是？不好好吃东西，然后不想好好睡觉。
World can be foolery, and a lot of stuff are really just naive. What's the level of their naiveness? And the men tend to grow once they become older. It can be considered as another note, or whether another note to their info comes to that. First stuff comes before. Let the men, and whether comes before the recent to its probable compared to a bit better, whether better to probable, whether better comes up before the probability of recent mentioned there, and whether recent, whether recent probable minor expression, and whether minor expression to probable. Besides a lot of infrequent and distortions, that's when we mention something, there's just it is a 7 billion. Like sometimes a lot of the stories out there, it's not as important as it is. In a way, it's they were sort of bored and had to find something to do. The storyline is probably what I mentioned and represent and endorse are very nickel dime or very suitable story mentions. And whether stories also to continue reflecting upon or continue for recent problems. And you really want to grab Putin and actually kidnap Putin and force him to be better Putin, completing the goals he wants. And the better version of him also wants. And whether also the better version of him to also be probably of the career. It's not a simple task, guys. This is monstrous. This is monstrous. We're celebrating our own detriments. On the advanced level, it's sometimes some moments maybe whether their content there includes how there's just much whether involves or has. What some are months and whether some other words and whether months other words. Probable to could be of and follows or also to whether also to probable to could be sort of general type of sort of whether general sort of cover. Here is Harry as Truman Hardy. It could be about the limits. MacArthur and here anymore and George Payton probably was. A lot of folks aren't here anymore, and do we miss their presence? We probably miss their presence, especially because we need them. It will be a lot of help if you had keep working, and the payload is incredible enough that Holocaust is going to be worse than it is. Once your intermorph battle stance will be to prevent of a comparative spell of exhaustion, to prevent and reason the word comparative not really to coinciding match, whether coinciding or coinciding. Is the reason, but the reason why there was end or end comma symbol mark or to proposize it could be was one of which the end comma symbol mark or more inclined toward it. So far, there's a bit of a power struggle. When men age to a certain woman rather still doesn't really age. They can still hold their convictions. Men sort of become foolish and actually turn into some other being as they after patch seniority. It should be a tradition have now. Incorporating the custom in a way, right? I've served so many lamerists that can go on some lamerists. A lot of the regular folks are also a bit quite lame. Because the humans need custom to keep themselves the current sense of humans as well. Also of and whether end of. And whether end also to probable is also to be. It whether to probable of to be of the probable to be or whether it's probable to also to be. There it's media all this tellings in order to the sort of a custom the word can be counted as a bit reserved, whether reserved. So far not so much prefer mention. Overall it's Romania English. If I wasn't communicating, if there was no chance of communicating with Bill Clinton and etc., I wouldn't even speak in this format. Romania English is so much of a control. And this is a monstrous, we need to completely abandon, restart civilization here. It's a monstrous set of control. I have to keep using the words that's not over mimicked. It does not actually have a total other tone. The bug kingdom is actually identical aggression with all the bad stuff, parasitic, identical to the human, to this kingdom. The aggression level, like what suppose we study at the celestial level, whether really study we find what is aggression. One will notice aggression for all creatures is the same. What really changes it from being very hostile and very lethal, a person from group is there's probably limitations capabilities. And the two main ones for these contexts are probably and other topics also the probable the relations and the characteristics and the definition together and whether associated with the measure of word traits. There are whether also discount traits and whether discount traits come to first or whether mentioned of as whether measure of and whether of discount traits. Suppose we follow their format. It's stupid. A lot of the words carry this eerie. It's like they are actually hijacked by bugs, and they are in a way bugs. Right? And wouldn't an actual bug refer to the actual Gentiles, the gentle types, as insects? We can do some research. Insects don't try to harm life. They don't try to harm life. They let humans live. Humans have a kingdom. If they become nuclearly powerful, they will wipe out the humans without naming it. But they will still have their peace and harmony. While the terrorists are against insects and other insects, against big fishes, against big cats, against us. Right? Look how much I am actually reduced. Now I'm literally like a key representative and a cultured person. Check our habits and check the motives of the person instead of on the grammar of the language of the person. A lot of the words in Romania English denotate a set of this eeriness. It represents this not denotation. We got deprived carapace, endangered spasm that are diseased and uncontrollable. They are organized blabber, Nazi talk. All this talk does nothing. They cannot produce poems as great as me. They don't even sing as good as me. But in a way, isn't music actually the language of humans? The music is actually the true language. Those are not talk. It's blabber. Recall from the casino moments, blackjack. When you lose 500, when 500 flushed down the drain, let's say you get stolen, or whether 500 gone. And 500 can be a DVD player, etc. If the person travels there and other persons also. And do these care? And what has the words on the table, on that losing table been? Has it ever been F word? Has it ever been something? It's instead something like you're bad. And something, and what was the game? Blackjack. Like talk. We're talking. I'm a fan. Right? These sets, these types of sets and whether sets incorporate and include sets and whether set types probably tells you. Whether sets types tells you. Right? Instead of speaking, we have to add s's to certain verbs. So what is that? It's a mosquito. Like it's like your day is important. This stuff is so important. The person must distinguish between whether it's bags or bag. What if it's bags or bag, and the person named bag, but it's bags? And would it be actually denoted? Oh, therefore you're going to take just one bag. What is that? All that eerie listeningness, this examining what's the stuff. That's what not even see. That's Nazism. Really, we got a Nazism issue, not so much of a criminal issue, not an evil. These aren't evil. These are mentally crazy. This is on the even greater level. In a way, everything is crazy. Just a matter of getting the ones we don't like out. But it's too late. It's too late. They can't do anything against it. We got to spell completely. I'll suffer probably. I'll go through a lot. It's not really suffer. The word has been overused and it came a bit too quick. You want to. It still it serves probably for presentation. Surely somebody who is actually the sort of like the mega being, whether a key figure, there will be certain surrealness effect, and does this, is nature already, is a lot of the life, is this affect, in, would it be sort of detriment, or would it have certain issues, and if the issue does generate, nobody really casts any trouble, any effort, it's not so much as under mentioned, then that's in a way alright. And it could be absorbed, and also that's what it prepared for. It auto settles itself, or it doesn't do too much. It's like something that's neutral. It's like, oh, more nitrogen there, or you add a bag of nitrogen. Okay, it's not going to combust or have chemical reactions. Notice life is actually connected, and this fantastic, so this, yeah, I'm stating fantastic. So a lot wouldn't say fantastic, but they probably don't get the feather there. They don't get the energy boost there. In a way, the life belongs to freaks. Belongs to persons that are frenzy. For example, I'm frenzy. Dogs are fairly frenzy, right? They get excited over nothing in a way. But it's exactly this that will result. If it results in the result of that being, and something of certain feature, no matter how red it is, it's gone completely. Then it will be gone. Right? And it's not, life is not so restricted thing, so it actually blocks away a lot of the other possibilities and variants from living, from teleported to here. But a lot are there's this allowance of variations. And how does one work out from there using logic? Probably it's already settled in a way. And certain forces, in a war, it's an eyeball game. Every person has eyeballs. And life really is stacked on simple games a lot of the time. For example, taller, better. It's not really taller, better. Your eyeball, the sovereign energy, or some ancient forces tell you, go for the taller. That's how actually the mammals really got enlarged. There's just certain that cannot be override. It's almost it's a drive pain, and the overall life itself is dodging pain. Every person is doing that, and I would. That's sort of something that is very true, but it's not really pleasant. Somebody of Goran ranking doesn't have to know it. It's not for them to understand. Hopefully it will ever reach. But although I should change from sports for down now, but whether to be doing, and whether competitive to down, more of the risk to probably do. By the way, the avoidable hours may be soon up if the enfeeblements come stacking, or more of the enfeeblements arrives. The word in Mandarin, good, it's different than good. It's more prominent than good, I guess. Whether included or whether it's prominent, more prominent than good, and it's different. To write it, it's really needs every female. But the female relationships, the world starts. What is defined as socially, what is good, and the overall picture, whether the abstract, the overall, and stuff like this, better not to really represent worship of it, and not everything have to be told, because we're not knowers as much as we're beings. We get excited towards attendance. We don't like to study all the time. Study, the person gets to be a stalker. He's gonna use knowledge for what? When he hasn't partied yet. In a way, the word party, like it returns to the reason what I said. That a lot don't have instincts. They're not humans. They don't have instincts. Any ape and chimpanzee dance better than they do. And so much they don't understand. They think it's animalistic. But the chimps are really doing something that's healthy for them, and something about, by the way, there's something called the health of a lot of the gorams are really not there. They probably have a lot of issues, but their body they don't notice that it is that. And with almost every criminal, including the mass ones we're gonna massacre, are in a way not really false or liars. They tend to take it as realism, and we never told them anything. Bill Clinton could have told them, hey, you need to lose some weight. Instead, nobody tells someone that's one of the gorman that's overweight. Reason that can be considered as change of subject there. And neither did any of the restaurant attendees. So a lot actually due to victim. The victim is the killer is the victim, will ever intertwine, and Jebus will overcome to rule because he was the first one that started. He was the first card. He wasn't the second card. He was the first card. Notice stuff reduces to simplicity again. It does actually make a very good connection that we goes to simplicity, because what it took to go to simplicity was complexity. So it's not really opposition, and it's contradictively it's stimulus, or whether stimulus was contradiction. Usually when we're on the passage of having contradiction, that's when we are doing stuff right. A lot of life is actually being humble and estimating the day that Jebus will come. As much as Jebus doesn't really exist, it's just me here. You guys gotta cover me. If I'm removed, the whole planet implodes. The whole planet implodes. And we're all right now know this. That is dangerous. That sort of although underspeakableness, a bit of unspeakableness, which underspeakable probably represents but it will not happen. And that's probably approximately the rarity proportion, as recent mentioned about whether also twice, 2 times to occurrences of probably from and also amongst other words. The software of simple mathematics and simple geometries. There's this rarity stacking. There's supposed to be common. Common has to be more. In a way, they are almost like a base. They also contrast with us. We have a lot of our guests on the other side. They are our guests. And almost everything is a lie in a way, and we are best at lying in a way because, and I came at this, there's this Jesus Christ. Life is not exactly life. Female, once they grow up, once the puberty reaches, they start to have the satanic attunement. That's different. And male is not really an opposite gender, like it's just different. There's a lot of religious differences, and it seems to bother a bit because of the male. That's not symmetrical. Then how does it work? You know, life actually has always been full of person that are in a way rightfully deranged, and became stronger, and they settled the rules. And it wouldn't be so simple. There will be complexities, lots of factors, more than to you sort of checking these noises, which are actually patterns, but really no time to check for, and not worthy. In a way, and recently I mentioned whether brief and one compared to short probably to positive. There's inheritance. It's not really a sort of a linear village. It's a flat, or whether linear and flat, or whether linear line, or whether linear village. Just with the word linear can be coincident with a lot of other usages, or whether other mentions of the word at the location of, or whether other mentions other usages of. There's inheritance. There's changes. In person, and societies change. Stuff are determined different ways, and there are lots of factors. Lots of even the abstract factors. In fact, that's being organized on the advanced level. Mentioned a lot of serial code is very determined. For example, if it's going to be a female, it's going to be a female, and I may have certain biases, but after the bias, the level of will probably still be of much. But then, why should the bias be necessarily removed also? And whether reason was out of whether retrieval of the word also to probable to also to be from whether to could be of the probable to also a reason whether the probable to could be of the probable to could be and whether the probable to also to be. A lot is actually naiveness. For example, if a person didn't, the sentence I heard was "I'm worse." For example, the audience is quite capable. Not really in that phrasing, but sort of that the moment was like this. But instead he stated to himself, sort of stated, and whether it's a bit of stated, and whether state moderate to moderate or whether moderate state or whether stated recent reproductive or whether and whether stated and whether stated the and whether also the word and whether the word there and whether ente the word there in bracket mark and whether with and whether of bracket mark or whether with bracket or whether bracket mark to suitable of within bracket mark or whether to could be the probable of to could be of the probable of to could be or whether to could be of the probable of to also to be from whether to probable of to could be of the probable of the also to could be states to itself and whether himself and whether another himself or whether recent another himself and will be another the probable is also to be a support of both recent phrases to probable to probable to could be and whether to probable to could be a phrase and whether to probable to be to probable also to could be and whether to probable to could be to probable to could be and whether actual stuff to probable to could be also and whether to probable to could be a reason and whether to probable to could be to probable to also to be stated that whether it was something else, but what's going to be is that that's going to be the moment actually. So that's how a lot of the very ruthless audiences are able to actually capture our guys, right? In a way, that's why capture. Notice every single movie is actually gives certain denotation that in a way it's like a set. It doesn't cover what the others have covered, and almost not having to sort of actively know it to be back and whether be restrained with you and whether be back a minor retrieval that be with during it, whether reason that one leave there is proper to us. Probable to be of the probable to be also probable to probable to be
不能抗错自己。关了！我在跟谁说话？那些乱七八糟的。你老早就打哈欠了，你早上起不来，快睡觉。